Winston Churchill, the iron-willed leader who saved the British Empire. In his youth, he was an arrogant, rebellious, and unruly scion of nobility. In his early adulthood, he was a passionate war correspondent, rushing toward the front lines. In middle age, he was a marginalized political outcast, lonely and frustrated. Yet, in his twilight years, he became the final afterglow of the British Empire, a man who turned the tide of disaster and held up a collapsing nation as one of the most influential statesmen of the 20th century. Winston Churchill was not only the Prime Minister of Britain during World War II, but also a multifaceted individual, a military strategist, an orator, a historian, and an author, even a painter and an architect. Furthermore, Churchill was a notorious chain smoker. Conservative estimates suggest he smoked 250,000 cigars throughout his life, and his habits of heavy drinking and staying up late were legendary. Doctors early on predicted he would not live past 60, yet Churchill, with his daily routine of cigars and whiskey, lived to the ripe old age of 91. He not only led Britain to victory in WW, but also continued to write prolifically after leaving office, eventually winning the Nobel Prize in Literature. From his turbulent early years and the ups and downs of his political career to his iron-fisted leadership during the war and his profound, controversial post-war influence, Churchill's life is more thrilling than an epic novel. Winston Churchill was born on the 30th of November, 1874, at Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire, a place far grander than any ordinary mansion. In the early 18th century, Churchill's ancestor led his army to victory at the Battle of Blenheim. As a reward, Queen Anne bestowed this 850-hectare estate upon the Churchill family, creating a residence as luxurious as a royal palace. Young Winston was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His father, Lord Randolph Churchill, was a founder of the conservative Tory democracy and became Chancellor of the Exchequer in his 30s. His mother, Jenny Jerome, was the daughter of an American millionaire and a famous socialite in London. No party was considered elite without her presence. However, despite his top-tier upbringing, young Winston had his own share of troubles because his parents were preoccupied with their careers and social scene, always working or hosting parties. They had little time for their child. Young Winston was left in the care of a nanny. This lack of companionship was like a crack in his foundation, allowing seeds of rebellion to take root early on. At age 7, Winston was sent to a local boarding school for children of the nobility, and in 1888, he entered Harrow School. He was naturally restless and loved adventure. He rarely paid attention in class, preferred doodling or writing stories, and frequently failed his subjects. His scores in Latin and mathematics were perennially at the bottom, and fighting was a regular occurrence. Once, an older student pinned Winston to the ground and pummeled him until his nose bled. But Winston stiffened his neck and shouted, "You can break my face, but you can't break my mouth." After the bully grew tired and let go. Winston stood up and used every ounce of his strength to strike back. This never give up attitude would define his entire life. To his teachers, a student like Churchill was a thorn in their side. One teacher noted in his report, "This student has mediocre intelligence and no future to speak of." However, while his grades in the sciences were poor, his English and history were quite good. His writing, in particular, was precise and powerful, laying the groundwork for his future literary career. By December 1892, the 18-year-old Churchill graduated from Harrow. His grades remained poor, and his other academic pursuits were lackluster. Given his passion for the military, his father, Lord Randolph, decided to send him to the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. With luck, he might at least become an officer and avoid shaming the family name. But Sandhurst was not easy to enter. On his first attempt, Winston missed the mark by several points, especially in math, where he left nearly a blank page. Infuriated, his father threatened that if he failed again, he would be sent to the colonies to be a farmer. Panicked, Winston hired a tutor to drill math, staying up past midnight every night. Even so, it took him 3 attempts to finally cross the threshold of Sandhurst. Once in military school, Winston's temperament remained unchanged. He found theoretical lectures dull, focusing all his energy on writing and shooting. In his spare time, he frequented bars and even gambled with classmates, nearly getting expelled several times. However, in military practice, he showed extraordinary talent. His marksmanship was top tier. His tactical simulations were inventive, and his horsemanship was unrivaled, maintaining the rank of #1 in the school. Though the later Churchill was known for his jolly, stubborn appearance. As a young man, he was a dashing and handsome aristocrat. Upon graduation, Churchill's rank had surged to 8th in his class, and he successfully joined the King's Cavalry. Before leaving the academy, he told his instructors, "It doesn't matter if you look down on me. One day, I will make the whole world remember my name." At the time, it sounded like the arrogant boast of a teenager. Years later, the man with the cigar truly made the world remember him.